Hello friends, welcome back to another video. In today's video, we will talk about Azure Migrate, which is a tool provided by Microsoft or Azure to migrate workloads from on-prem to Azure. It could be a virtual machine, it could be a physical machine, it could be a database, and there are many more components which we can migrate, like data, application, and so on. So let's begin. So to start with, what is Azure Migrate? Azure Migrate is a service provided by Microsoft Azure that helps organizations discover, assess, and migrate their on-premises workloads to the Azure cloud. It offers a unified and comprehensive solution for migrating servers, databases, applications, and data to Azure. Azure Migrate provides tools for assessment, migration, and optimizations, making it easy to plan and execute cloud migration effectively and securely. Now, we'll go through a set of questions. So in this video, we'll go through basic questions, technical questions, scenario-based questions, and best practice questions. Let's begin with the basic questions. So the first basic question which we can expect from the interviewer would be, what are the key features of Azure Migrate? Azure Migrate offers several key features including discovery and assessment, automatically discovers on-premises servers, database, and applications and assess their readiness for migration to Azure. Migration supports migration of virtual machines, physical servers, database, and web applications to Azure with minimal downtime. Cost estimation provides cost estimates for running workloads in Azure based on the current on-premises usage. Dependencies analysis identifies dependencies between applications to ensure that workloads are migrated in the current order. So it helps in identifying the upstream and downstream dependencies of applications running on premises so that we can plan our migration in a proper manner, and it also gives us a visualization view or a graphical view on which servers are connected to which server and what is the pairing about. Integration with other tools works with Azure native tools and third-party solutions like Azure Site Recovery, Azure Database Migration Services, and third-party ISVs. The next basic question is, how does Azure Migrate helps in cloud migration process? The next basic question would be, how does Azure Migrate helps in the cloud migration process? Response. Azure Migrate helps streamline the cloud migration process by providing a unified platform for discovering, assessing, and migrating on-premises resources to Azure. It automates the discovery of resources, assess compatibility and readiness, provides cost estimation, and offers tools for migrating servers, database, and applications. This end-to-end support helps reduce the complexity, risk, and cost associated with cloud migration. Next question. What are the main components of Azure Migrate? Response. Azure Migrate consists of several main components. Discovery and assessment tool is the first component for identifying on-premises workloads and assessing their readiness and compatibility for migration to cloud. So discovery and assessment tools basically helps in identifying on the on-premises workloads and assess them whether they are ready and are they compatible or are they fit for the cloud. So to know if a particular workload or an application is fit for cloud, Azure Migrate provide discovery and assessment. Next is server migration tool. This is a tool which helps actually in migration of the server. So this is a tool which actually helps with the migration of the server itself. Helps migrate virtual machines and physical servers to Azure, supporting various operating system and configurations. The next tool is database migration tool. Assist in migrating on-premises database to Azure SQL database, Azure SQL Managed Instance, or other Azure database services. So this particular service database migration tool specifically helps with the migration of databases, SQL databases. The next tool is application migration tool. Supports the migration of web application and other applications types to Azure App Services. And then Dependency virtual visualization offers insight into applications dependencies to help plan migration sequence and minimize disruptions. Now we will move to technical questions. So the first technical question could be, how do you perform an assessment using Azure Migrate? So in any migration, assessment is very is key, because the better the assessment, the better the migration would be and the outcome would be. It helps in knowing whether the server, whether the application and the workload is fit for cloud or not. And it also helps in understanding how the application would behave in cloud. So assessment is very key of any migration. So the response to perform an assessment using Azure Migrate, below are the things we have to set up and configure. First is set up Azure Migrate projects. Create a new Azure Migrate project in Azure portal. After that, deploy the Azure Migrate appliance. Deploy the Azure Migrate appliance in your on-premises environment to automatically discover servers and workloads. So we have to deploy an appliance, which is nothing but a virtual machine or a kind of a virtual machine, which we have to configure on the on-premises so that it can read and assess and capture the data of the workloads on-premises. Run discovery. Use the appliance to discover on-premises servers, including their configuration, performance data, and dependencies. Configure assessment. Define assessment properties such as target Azure region, performance-based sizing, and pricing preferences. Then review assessment results. Azure Migrate generates reports showing the readiness of each workload, cost estimates, and recommended target Azure configuration. This is how we can use Azure Migrate for assessing the workloads, or this is how we can use Azure Migrate to perform the assessment. Next technical question: what type of workloads can you migrate with Azure Migrate? Azure Migrate supports the migration of various types of workloads, including virtual machines, migrate VMs running on Hyper-V, VMware, or another virtualization platform. Physical servers. Migrate physical servers to Azure. Databases. Migrate on-premises databases such as SQL servers, MySQL, and Oracle to Azure SQL database, Azure SQL managed instances, or other Azure database services. Next is web application. Migrate on-premises or hosted web application to Azure App Services. Data. Move data from on-premises storage to Azure storage solutions like blob storage or Azure Files. Next technical question: can you explain how Azure Migrate handles dependency analysis? So the response would be, Azure Migrate provides dependencies analysis to identify and visualize interdependencies between servers and applications. This feature helps ensure that workloads are migrated in the correct order to maintain application functionality. To perform dependency analysis, below are the things we have to take care of. Enable dependency analysis. During the discovery phase, enable dependency analysis by installing agent or using agentless methods supported by Azure Migrate. Collect data. Azure Migrates collects network traffic data to map communication patterns between servers. Visualize dependencies. The tool displays dependencies in a graphical format, showing which server interacts with each other, allowing for informed decisions about migration sequence and grouping. Next technical question: how do you migrate a virtual machine using Azure Migrate? Response: to migrate a virtual machine using Azure Migrate, discovery. Use the Azure Migrate appliance to discover on-premises VM. Assessment: assess the readiness of the VM for migration, including compatibility check and cost estimations. Replication: set up replication of VMs to Azure using the server migration tool within Azure Migrate. This steps involves configuring replication settings, including network settings, storage, and resource group. So this is the phase where we enable or configure the replication of the VM which we want to migrate or move to Azure. And this is the time where the actual VM would be replicated to Azure. Now, once the replication is completed, it gives an option to do a test migration. Perform a test migration to validate that the VM works as expected in Azure without impacting the production environment. So in this test migration, it would not shut down the machine or the primary machine in the on-premises. It will just try to provision a copy of the machine into the Azure to see whether it is booting up, and you can do the basic hygiene checks. After that, migrate. After successful testing, perform the actual migration by cutting over the replicated VMs in Azure. This involves shutting down the on-premises VM and starting the VM in Azure. In this particular phase, there could be a possible downtime wherein the connection, the on-premises machine will be shut down and the Delta replication will happen, and it will provision and it will start the machine into cloud. So there could be a potential downtime which we have to inform the stakeholders. Now we'll move to scenario-based questions. The first scenario-based question: how would you approach migrating a large multi-tier application to Azure using Azure Migrate? Migrating a large multi-tier application involves careful planning and execution. The first step is discovery and assessment. Use Azure Migrate to discover all components of application, including web servers, application servers, and databases. Assess the readiness and compatibility of each component for migration. The second, we have to do dependency analysis. Utilize Azure Migrate dependency visualization to identify dependencies between components and plan the migration sequence to minimize disruption. Migration strategy. Choose an appropriate migration strategy for each tier, such as rehosting for the application servers and replatform for the database. Phased migration. Migrate the application in phases, starting from less critical components or staging environment to test the migration approach. Testing and validation. Perform thorough testing of each migrated component, including functions, performance, and integration testing, to ensure that the multi-tier application works as expected in the cloud. Optimization. Post-migration, optimize the application for cloud performance, security, and cost. The next scenario-based question: what challenges might you face when using Azure Migrate and how would you address them? Response. Common challenges when using Azure Migrate includes compatibility issues. Some workloads may not be directly compatible with Azure services. Address this by using Azure Migration as Migrate Assessment Report to identify and refactor or replatform application as needed. Data transfer limitation. Large data volumes can be challenging to migrate effectively. Use Azure Databox or other offline data transfer solutions to move large data sets. So this is a situation where you have TBs of data and it might not be feasible or possible to migrate it over the network. So Microsoft or Azure provide data boxes wherein a physical device, a physical drive can be shipped to the on-premises database. Data can be copied and then it will go back to Azure, and data would be copied into the storage account and it could be accessed from there. That is one way of transferring large amount of data. Downtime management. Minimizing downtime is critical for production workloads. Use replication tool and plan cutover during low traffic period to reduce impact. Security concerns. Ensuring data security during a migration is crucial. Use encryption for data in transit, secure access control, and follow best practices for identity and access management. Now we'll go to best practice questions. So the best practice questions could be: what best practices would you follow when using Azure Migrate? The following are the best practices which we include. Thorough assessment. As we have discussed earlier, assessment is the key. Perform a comprehensive assessment to understand workloads, readiness, and requirements. Plan for resiliency. Include redundancy and failover strategies in your migration plan to ensure high availability. Optimize for cost. Use Azure Migrate's cost estimation feature to ensure the most cost-effective Azure services and configuration. Leverage automation. Automate repetitive tasks such as VM replication and configuration to speed up the migration process and reduce errors. Test extensively. Conduct extensive testing, including application performance, security, and integration before going live. Monitor post-migration. After migration, continuously monitor workloads using Azure Monitor to ensure they meet performance and operational expectations. With this, we have come to the end of this video. Hope this has been useful. Thank you for watching.